Cowabunga dudes, and welcome to The Great Everything on the 6th of March. Next week I'll be in Rome for my quarterly pilgrimage, and from my balcony there I can see the dome of St. Peter's Basilica, one of the most recognized and copied landmarks in the world. Today it's still the tallest building in the Eternal City, because in deference to its majesty, there's a law saying that no building in Rome can be as high. The man who designed it was born today in 1475, Michelangelo Buonarroti, the greatest artist of all time, a man so exceptional they called him divine in his own lifetime, Il Divino Michelangelo. From sculpture to architecture to painting, nobody else created as many monumental masterpieces and in so many different fields. And coming after centuries of repression and body shaming by the church, no artist has done so much to show us the true beauty and promise within the human form. He started working in Florence under the patronage of the powerful Medici family, so he had all kinds of special privileges, like being able to study anatomy by accessing dead bodies, which the church prohibited. And this understanding of the human body shows in his work. With its skin stretching over vein and muscle, Michelangelo's statues are marble turned into flesh. Take the Pietà, completed when he was only 23, the famous statue of the Virgin Mary cradling the dead body of Christ. Google it and see how lifelike it is in the softness of Mary's drapery, and how natural Christ poses. See where her hand holds him up by the armpit, how his flesh bulges upwards. And note his body's complete lack of resistance, the peacefulness of death, and be amazed that this was carved out of a single block of marble. Like Michelangelo wasn't creating it, but freeing the bodies from the stone they were trapped in. Pure magic. Then you have, perhaps the most famous statue in the world, the giant of Florence, the David, standing proud at 16 feet, seen not as a meek shepherd anymore, but as a determined hero in the moment of his decision to fight Goliath. And what about his Moses? Towering, stern, powerful. It's more Zeus than Moses. The stories say that Michelangelo was so in awe of the perfection of his work that he struck the statue's knee, crying, "Perché non parli?" Why can't you speak? Yet as great a sculptor as he was, his greatest work is in the Sistine Chapel. If you've never been inside, all I can compare it to is the feeling of sheer majesty you get when you're at the Grand Canyon. 6,000 square feet of frescoes, with over 300 figures in scenes from Genesis, each a masterpiece. And at the center, the creation of Adam, with the benign God granting the spark of life to man in his original purity, all beauty, innocence, and pride. You look up and the whole room is packed with detail. All this on a ceiling 60 feet high. For 4 years of his life, he painted standing up with his neck turned upwards on a scaffolding he had to design for the job. Lit only by candlelight, inhaling toxic fumes from the mixing paste. But it was worth it. The presence, the drama, and the color, it's more than words can describe. So I've linked to a TEDx video about it instead. Check it out. The ceiling was immediately hailed as a triumph. The next 50 years of art history were pretty much just other artists reacting to it, trying to deal with that level of magnificence. Decades later, he returned to the scene of the crime and decorated the front wall of the chapel with his Last Judgment. But where the ceiling was all the purity and optimism of the Renaissance, the Last Judgment is terrifying, coming at a time when the church's counter-reformation was obscuring that original promise. A darker art for a darker age. Now think about all these works. The Sistine Chapel, David, the Pietà, Moses, St. Peter's. Most artists would give their life to be able to produce just one. He created them all, and many, many more. Michelangelo was a man of harsh temper, frustrations, terrible passions and doubts, but also of majesty and grandeur. And there are few people in the history of humanity who have made a greater contribution to our art, our culture, and the way we view ourselves and our potential as mankind. Much like God granting the spark of life to Adam, Il Divino Michelangelo restored our self-respect.